Hello people. Today I want to talk about the drug industry, drug abuse, drug addiction, the drug problem in the United States of America. Americans have been self-medicating since colonial times. If you look at old newspapers from the 1900s and the 1800s, especially back in the 1800s, you'll see some interesting and some occasionally funny advertisements for pills, elixirs, salve, or some formula that you drink from a bottle that will effectively treat, according to the advertising claims, headaches, indigestion, arthritis, warts, hair loss, whatever. Treat anything you got. Of course, some were a little more credible and were advertised as being a medicine for one condition or disease. So we Americans have a tradition. If you feel bad, you have a right to take something that makes you feel good. The question is, do you have a right to take something that gradually destroys your productivity, your decision-making capacity, your cognitive skills, your ability to know and understand complexity. So we have a problem where we've done the same thing that we did in the 1920s with prohibition of alcohol. We made something illegal that at least 30% of the population, and probably more, wanted desperately. People drank to feel good, people drank to forget, people drank small amounts of whiskey, bourbon, and wine as a kind of medicine to relax. And we have a myth in America that if you take a medicine to feel good, even if there's a risk of addiction, even if there's a risk you will start to lose brain cells and become a medical problem instead of a productive citizen, that you have a right to do that because you're not hurting anybody else. And that's nonsense, because we're all members of society. We're all interdependent. Everybody depends on you, and you depend on everybody else. The other aspect of this problem, which we have to address, is how unreasonable it really is to say that the source of the problem, the demand, people want marijuana, cocaine, heroin, crack, meth, and others. They want those drugs, those addictive drugs, those destructive drugs, and they're willing to pay for them. So what happens? It's like any other commercial phenomenon. Demand creates an economy. There's an opportunity to make money. So people make drugs, people ship drugs, people store drugs, people sell drugs, people transport drugs. They even improve the drugs, just like legitimate industry or commercial enterprise. But the demand, the person, the people who want the drugs and have become addicted, they are victims who have a medical problem. But those who possess the drugs, sell the drugs, make the drugs, drug dealers, drug cartels, they're monsters. They're criminals. Well, I see odd thinking in this, and I think we need to take a different view of drug addiction. I don't think we need to punish people who become addicted to drugs. I think the argument that drug addicts have a medical problem is correct. I've even spoken to doctors who are doing research on treating drug addicts with medicine, and who have done research that shows that drug addicts have a slightly different experience of joy and pleasure. Their nervous systems, their neurological systems are a little different. and they can't help the attraction of drugs or substances that make them feel good. So we have a drug problem and we have a war on drugs, and if you think about the American national character, we have a war on poverty, we have a war on drugs. In the 90s, the extreme right fundamentalist Christians and other right-wing fundamentalists, white supremacists and so forth, have become more influential in our political system. And somebody invented the phrase culture wars. So it seems like we turn everything into a war. People are overweight, so we're having fat wars. Some people are saying that this is actually a discussion going on all over the world, that the Western culture, consumes too much meat. We produce so much meat, that's what's producing the methane and some of the carbon dioxide. And it's not even good for us. So maybe the next war will be the beef and broccoli wars. Well, this is a tough problem, and it would take hours to discuss all the different aspects of it. But I think we need to take a look at it. We need to stop the craziness of creating a subculture and a sub-economy, an illegal economy, by making something against the law. Because we can make anything against the law. We can make coffee against the law. We could make pork against the law, tuna fish against the law. We can make red shirts against the law. And if we make anything against the law that some people want, it's going to become a subculture economy. And it's going to be a problem. So we need to look at that and see how we can avoid that. Another war is the war of our elections. Our two-party system has become a war between two opposing parties who can no longer compromise, can no longer work together. When one party has the advantage of having occupying more offices in the Congress, they do everything their way, and they make accusations against the other party, and they have investigations, and there's accusations of crime and immorality and betrayal and everything. And it goes back and forth both ways. Both parties accuse the others. Blame. Anything goes wrong, it's the other political party that caused it. So we need elections reforms. We need a revolution by vote. New voters, Generation Z, I understand that's what young voters are called today. And non-voters, people who haven't voted as a habit in their lifetime or for decades. You need to register to vote. We need your vote desperately. Everybody has to participate. We need majority rule. You can find all the details of this effort to create this write-in campaign, which is like a referendum on the two-party system. Search for the John Manamus campaign and then the revolution by vote. What is the revolution by vote? You will be, and you are the revolution by vote if you register to vote in November 2020, and you consider the possibility of writing in John Manamus to demand election reforms and retirement of the two-party system. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next time.